The real reasons why Dame Dash is suing Cameron. Let's talk about it. This is Fresh Hiphop Opinion with your guy Oleezeh. Don't forget to subscribe. So yes, Dame Dash has been shaking up hip-hop this week. He reunited with Charlemagne and DJ Envy on The Breakfast Club and had an epic episode. But it's the issues with Cameron, his Harlem homie, his baby bro, that is making the news right now, as news has broken out that he is suing him. These two have been going back and forth for a few weeks, maybe months. But I've identified recent issues that made Dame take this dramatic legal action. Now, Killer Cam was on his show, Talk with Flea, and he responded to a lot of things that Dame's been saying, and even sticking the fork in a few more times at Dame. And I've got a few examples of why Dame may have taken this legal action. And in this first clip, Cam is talking about Dame's son, Boogie. Check it out.
Larry let Boogie, Dame's son, live with him for 5 years. He lived with him. When Dame, you ain't have nowhere for him to stay or whatever, I don't know what the situation is. If that man lets your son live with him for 5 years as a grown man, you should never have no problem with him. When you wrong, bro. It ain't about nothing else but being wrong. Larry found a place for Boogie to live when he's getting on his own. Dame calls it, says, yo, you know my son's an alcoholic. Why would you find an apartment with a bar in the lobby to let him live in there? Yo, Dame, how about come get your own son?
Yeah, fam. Now, Dame had already expressed in the past that he was unhappy when Cam offered Dame's son Boogie about $2.5, I think it was $2,500 for an interview. And Dame clearly in the interview, I think it was with Art of Dialogue, and he mentioned it on The Breakfast Club as well, that he wasn't happy. He said it calmly, but you could tell it hit deep, that Cam had resorted to messing with his son. So the fact that Cam again had violated, gone on Talk with Flea, and mentioned Dame's son, and kind of exposed that his son had alcohol issues, because I didn't really know that. I don't know if that was common knowledge. I didn't know that Dame's son had any issue with alcohol. And Cam's show is big, so to put that out on Front Street definitely would have been another reason for Dame to say this was the last straw. I'm gonna sue Cameron. Cam also revealed that he believes that this all was a big play. And I myself thought the same thing, that Dame was even looking for a reason to beef with everybody. When you think about Dame did this with 50 Cent, kind of was poking at Joe Budden as well, and Cam. But check out the clip.
On the right thing to do. On and on for an hour, 2 hours. And I'm like, bro, this aligned me because the first thing that ever came out, you called me back to the beginning, you lined me up. You called to diss 50, but diss me. And because I ignored you, you kept going until I did not ignore you. And then when I said something purely about not liking Honor Up and how we filmed the movie Honor Up, you exploded, so you lined me. That's how I take it. I was ignoring you even though you dissed me 2-3 times. Finally, when I say, son, you've been wanting to get all this off your chest, and I feel good that you got all this off your chest. Paul, this shit that you've been wanting to say.
Yeah, fam. See, Cam was saying that he believes Dame deliberately lined him up. He was almost looking for a reason for Cam to respond even one time and then go all in. Because when Dame said Cam let 50 tap him on the backside, it looks like Dame kind of was trying to diss Cam publicly, like embarrass him. And if you're Cam, I can understand why he'd be upset about that. But as soon as Cam started talking about Honor Up, saying it was a trash film, Dame didn't have any lines, that's when this whole beef kind of really went left, when Cam seriously responded to Dame. After that, it's kind of been snowballing into a bigger mess. But do I think Dame really lined Cam up? I don't really believe that. I think Dame was probably just trying to be funny when he said that comment with 50 Cent and Cam. But Cam obviously didn't take that funny at all. And that's where I think for Cam, it definitely was no turning back from there. Because like, you're trying to embarrass me now on a public scale. And even in Dame's lawsuit, it does mention, in terms of defamation and stuff like that, that when Cam was accusing him of lining him up. I still can't believe this is all happening, really. But that is actually in Dame's lawsuit. But in this next clip, Cam kind of goes in about how Dame, maybe his interpersonal skills aren't the best. Check this out.
Dame helped mad people, bro. Mad people, whether it's not just musicians, people who's in power now who got president jobs and A&R jobs and the head of music, like not just like, we always use the usual suspects, the Camerons, the Kanyes, the Jay-Z's, the Kevin Harts, the Rachel Roy's. It is a plethora of people, corporate people working right now because of Dame. It's the president of this, I ain't gonna say their name, the president of this company, or the vice president of this company, or the head of A&R for this, or the head of video for this. I'm not like I said, I can name all the names. I'm not. Dame helped all these people out. And for every last one of these people not to be speaking to Dame, let's think about this. All these people you looked out for, helped out, or y'all did together, why none of these people with you? Out of everybody you helped? Does that say more about them, or does that say more about him? That's the real question.
Yeah, fam. Now, this one is one that we've heard many times about Dame. We all know he's not scared to raise his voice at individuals, talk his truth, and be very blunt when he says it. But has that rubbed people up the wrong way? Has that destroyed too many relationships with Dame on his journey? Because as Cam was saying, all the people that Dame has helped, and he said Dame's helped a lot of people in high positions. Where are they all at? Why don't they help him? Why don't they shout him out? Why don't they mess with him at all? But who knows, maybe they do. We don't know what's happening in Dame's life, whether he gets a text message, a phone call from these people every Christmas or every few months or whatever. So there is a bit of an assumption from Cam on that level. We have to keep it real. Dame does have that reputation of being very difficult to get along with. And when you see his antics on The Breakfast Club or on some other interviews over the years, you can kind of see why. But again, Cam saying these type of things, again, is something that is included in Dame's lawsuit, defamation. You're dirtying up his reputation, his name, which also can affect his earnings potential. By publicizing that Dame, is hard to work with, it doesn't really encourage other people to work with him and make money. Cam also had a very interesting accusation where he said the Queen of Harlem can even corroborate this story, that Dame offered to sleep with the Queen of Harlem. I believe Dame was married or was with his wife or current partner. So that is definitely defamation right there. And we had never heard this story before. And Cam even swore on his mother's grave that this was a true story. Maybe as a reason why Dame apparently mentioned Cam's mother in the lawsuit or in some sort of internet post. I haven't seen it, but I heard Dame violated in that sense. But again, Cam bringing up a very embarrassing story about Dame offering some sort of bedroom services, I'll put it that way, to the Queen of Harlem. But then lastly, Cam had another disparaging thing to say about Dame, is that Dame once had an internship program, I don't know if he still has it, that after 7 weeks or after 8 weeks, you can become an employee working for him. And mysteriously, on the 7th week, each intern would get fired, and Dame would have some random excuse why he couldn't hire the intern. And once again, like I said, it goes into the whole defamation thing. That kind of revelation that Cam is giving out isn't gonna encourage more interns to come and work for Dame. And one thing you gotta say about Cam is very rarely, if ever, you ever hear him say allegedly, which a lot of people hide behind that so you don't get sued. He never says it, to my understanding. He definitely didn't say it in this last episode of Talk with Flea. So as much as people say Dame's lawsuit sounds ridiculous, even though it's not officially been processed in court, the fact is Cam is saying stuff publicly about Dame, which haven't got facts, is all hearsay, and can affect Dame's pockets, his career, his business moves. So initially when I thought about this case, I thought, if this is a real lawsuit that Dame's really gonna go through, which I'm still skeptical about, I thought, nah, there's no way Dame's gonna win this. But you think about what Cam's saying, they're quite serious allegations against Dame, and not hiding behind that allegedly word. The case with Dame seems a lot stronger than initially I was even thinking. Maybe this case does have legs. I'm starting to think it actually does. But that's just my opinion. I wanna know yours. Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And for just a few dollars a month, you can become a member of the channel. Exclusive content. This is Fresh Hiphop Opinion. Peace and love.